What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Nick Williams Show. My name is Nick Williams. I'm an independent filmmaker and producer north of Boston. And God Almighty, I'm really hoping that in the near future, I can talk about movies again and not so much about politics. I'm joined, of course, behind the cameras, behind all the equipment, is my amazing producer, Josh. Thank you for being here.
Good to be here.
Yeah. On Saturday, which was February 1st, Trump implemented tariffs on Canada and Mexico and a little extra for China. Can't forget about them. 25% on Mexico and Canada, 10% on energy in China. And Justin Trudeau had a message both for the Canadians and for the American people. Let's take a look.
Tonight, first, I want to speak directly to Americans, our closest friends and neighbors. This is a choice that, yes, will harm Canadians, but beyond that, it will have real consequences for you, the American people. As I have consistently said, tariffs against Canada will put your jobs at risk, potentially shutting down American auto assembly plants and other manufacturing facilities. They will raise costs for you, including food at the grocery stores and gas at the pump. They will impede your access to an affordable supply of vital goods crucial for U.S. security, such as nickel, potash, uranium, steel, and aluminum. They will violate the free trade agreement that the President and I, along with our Mexican partner, negotiated and signed a few years ago. But it doesn't have to be this way.
I want to talk a little bit. There's a lot of, if you're into X or Twitter or whatever the hell you call it, there's a lot of information that's flying around, and there's a lot of different things being said regarding tariffs. And I kind of want to talk a little bit about what tariffs are, why we use them, and what Trump's plan kind of is, to give some clarification. Tariffs are absolutely 100% a tax on goods. Exporting tariffs are less common than importing tariffs. Importing tariffs say that if we have a country, right? Let's just use a country as the example. We can use the US, I guess. But when goods from other countries come in, a tariff says, in order for you, we have that good already. Whatever that good is, we have it already. A car, oil, maple syrup. You'll see where I'm going with this in a minute. We can make these goods already. Cars get made in Michigan, or they used to. Cars get made in Michigan. Oil gets drilled in Texas. Maple syrup gets made in Maine and Vermont. Okay? We can make these products ourselves. So a tariff, what it does is it says if you import the goods from outside of the country, goods that we can and do make ourselves, and this is true for any country, we're going to charge you a tax. Now, here's the problem. Everyone says that tariffs are a tax on the American people, imported tax, and technically speaking, they are. We are being, to an extent, punished because we're purchasing goods that aren't American. So instead of buying Vermont maple syrup, we're buying Canadian maple syrup. We're not supporting our own country, we're supporting a different country. So how do the tariffs work? So the government, the US government, charges a tax on goods from other countries that are being imported here to America. The company doing the importing says, we're not paying that, and charges the company that they're importing to the tax. So as an example, let's use the maple syrup, Josh, does that make sense?
Yeah.
To use maple syrup. So let's say, just for the sake of conversation, that it costs $5 per jug of maple syrup in Canada. and I'm just using numbers here, just go with me so you understand. So it's $5 a jug for maple syrup. America sells the maple syrup for 10 bucks. When tariffs are implemented, let's say it equates to a $2 tax. So now it costs $7 for the American companies to import the $5 jug of maple syrup. That $5 becomes $7. The US companies still want to make a $5 profit, and so the consumers in America end up paying $12 for maple syrup as opposed to 10. The idea behind tariffs is to incentivize the native people. I know what people are going to say. I shouldn't have said native. They're going to go crazy on native. Whatever. The populace, legal or otherwise.
Go ahead, Reddit.
Yeah, yeah, right. The incentive. Sounds so boring, but if you're sticking with me here and like and subscribe or whatever, send this video to your friends so that they can learn too. The incentive is for the populace of the country where the products are being imported to buy products, the same products, except the ones that are made within the country. Now, why are tariffs a big deal in the United States? Because in other countries, they tariff the crap out of us. Why is that? What happened there? Okay. For most of the United States history, which is very short, this year is what, 250 years, right?
Yeah.
For most of the United States history, tariffs were the way that the government made money. By importing goods, the companies pay the tariffs go to the government. That's how they made money. And in fact, when they had these tariffs that were being implemented in the early 1900s, late 1800s, and so on, there was no income tax. In fact, there was no income tax until the Civil War under Lincoln, because we destroyed our own country. And you'll see that war has a lot to do with tariffs and taxes and so on. There was an income tax for a bit. They got rid of it, and then it came back in 1913. The income tax that was implemented in 1913 is what we still pay today. It's been adjusted, but they've never gotten rid of it since 1913. Prior to 1913 and after the abolishment of the income tax after the Civil War, so that period there, the government made money through tariffs, and there was no income tax for the federal income tax for the United States population. After 1913, we had income tax, and after World War II, so here's the problem. So Germany, Japan, Russia, a lot of moves being made, a lot of people trying to take over things, a lot of people killing a lot of people, not good. So America, the largest helper of Europe and the rest of the world, I guess, we went through Europe and just helped to, in order to stop the Nazis and everybody else, we destroyed most of Europe. We destroyed and killed most of Japan. I'm not advocating for this. I'm not saying this was a good thing. It was a good thing we stopped the Nazis, but, it's a give and take. War sucks. We can all agree on that, I'm hoping. Agree?
Hope so.
Okay, right. So, why is this important? Because we destroyed most of Europe and Japan, we said, as an agreement, we won't tariff items and products and services that are coming into the country from outside sources. You, places we destroyed, need to rebuild. So we will allow you to tariff us on products and services and things that we ship out. And as we're importing it into your country, we'll pay a little bit extra tax so that you guys can use that money to rebuild. I would say, Josh, tell me if you agree or not. At this point, is Europe rebuilt or no?
Not really.
Well, no, I know they're destroying themselves currently, but I'm saying, did we get to where we needed to get? Like, do we still need to have them charge us tariffs or no?
I mean, some countries have gotten to the point where they have fruit vending machines that cut your own pineapple for you. We don't have that.
Some countries have high-speed rail.
Uh,
Some countries are developing flying cars. Some countries, I mean, what are we talking about here? Up until Elon Musk, we had basically shut down our space program. A lot of things happened. Now, I will say, the U.S. subsidizes a crap ton of. There's like 7 countries that we don't help, and there's 100 and some odd 150, 60 countries in the world, right? 168, whatever it is, to the tune of billions of dollars. The thing that people don't understand is that the US is a government of the people, for the people, by the people. So the government itself doesn't have any money. It's not an entity. It's a representation of us. That's why when these people talk about senators and congressmen like they're celebrities or they're untouchable people, no, they're representatives of their constituency. That's what it's supposed to be. Your mayor is a local person who lives in the town who can take care of the town. The congressperson is a representative of your district. Your senator is one of the representatives of your state. The president is a representation of the nation as a whole by popular vote and electoral vote, electoral college, and so on. But it's supposed to be a representation of us. The government doesn't make its own money, so we have agreed to put in money to the government so that they can pay for things like salary and for you pay state taxes and local taxes so that there won't be potholes in the road. Those policies are going real well, by the way. Real well. Have had to replace my tires twice this year from hitting potholes and things like that. Thank you, Massachusetts.
Not just a Massachusetts problem.
It's not just a Massachusetts
But-
problem, but my point is there is a complete lack. The DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, they're eradicating certain things. I don't want to get into all that right now. Let's stick with tariffs, okay? The reason that we have, and I can make a good comparison for this as well. The reason that Europe doesn't have Fords driving all over the place and Chevys driving all over the place is because there are tariffs on those goods when they go into France, Germany, all this stuff. There's tariffs on them. So the people of those nations, they just don't buy the products. Because of the way that we set things up, we shot ourselves in the foot collectively. And now we are reliant on China and Europe and other places, Canada and Mexico, for fentanyl, which we need, apparently.
Among other things.
Right. And so that's part of the reason Toyota, which is a Japanese car brand, is the #1 selling car brand in the United States. And it's not Ford because of tariffs and so on, right? And because it was then cheaper to build these, which by the way, this is why it's cheaper to build cars and stuff in other countries, because when you build it here, we don't have the infrastructure anymore. We used to. In the late 1800s and the Industrial Revolution and all that stuff, steel was all made here. Most of New York, the steel was made here. I don't understand why people are... this is... Okay. And people are upset because the price of eggs hasn't gone down in the last 2 weeks. Let me tell you something. Prices are about to go up, okay? The next 6 months are going to suck. And thank God. Because if we hold true to what we said we were going to do initially, we're going to be able to rebuild these things. I'm telling you right now, anybody who's like looking for an industry to get into or whatever should get into steel, textiles, things here in the United States. Here, we used to be a powerhouse of agriculture and product manufacturing. We used to export everything. Like everything. And it all died out after World War II because of the tariff situation. It became immediately cheaper to import goods that are not tariffed than it was to export goods that were tariffed. This is the equivalent, and as a fat person, I was going to say some body positivity bullshit, but as a large individual, this is the equivalent of sitting on the couch for 50 years and only ordering Uber Eats and never getting off the couch. When you finally decide to stop Uber Eatsing, get your chunky ass off the couch and go to the gym, the first 6 months, and depending on how large and unhealthy you get, the first years could really suck. But in the long run, you will be healthier for making better choices and working out. If you sit on your ass and get fat and lazy and unhealthy and you don't do anything to help yourself and import all of the fatty, horrible foods and things to your body from outside sources, you're going to die. You cannot survive. And you will not be happy or healthy. And you won't be wealthy either because you're spending all your money on outside stuff. We used to farm. We used to create steel. We used to create fabrics and textiles. Look at the Amish. They create all their own stuff. We used to all mason jars, glass jars. There used to be thousands and thousands of industries in the United States that were creating everything that we have here. Now we rely on China for everything because it's cheaper. How does that make no sense to people? How do they not understand that? I don't get that. Please comment below your thoughts on how I'm wrong. I love being told I'm wrong by people who are completely uneducated on a subject. And I'm a filmmaker, for fuck's sake. I mean, I make movies. But you have to know, if you're a producer or a filmmaker or whatever out there, you have to have an understanding of how to budget things. This is why when movies go over budget, people get fired, and it's a big deal and can't afford anything. This is a huge problem. This is a huge thing. Why are we reliant on other countries? And oh, by the way, Trudeau with his little where he couldn't even formulate a sentence. Wait, we're gonna fuck off, Trudeau. Fuck off. What is it? What did you gave me some info here? The GDP of Canada is 2.14 trillion annually. US GDP is 27.36. You think we can settle on without the maple syrup for a minute? Just for a minute? Think we could figure it out?
Hot take: Vermont maple syrup is better.
Yeah, I'll say Vermont maple syrup's better because it's American. My pancakes taste freer when I have Vermont maple syrup. Oh, but what about the oil? What about everything else? Listen, Canadian oil is there's a word for it. It's not good oil. It needs to be refined. There's like other things in it that are shit that they themselves cannot take out. So they have to send the oil here first. We refine it, and then we send it back to them, actually. Some of it. Let me tell you, we have so much oil between Texas and Alaska alone. We'll be just fine. I don't, and it sucks because in Toronto and other places, like they have a big film industry, you know? We don't need you. And our lives suck here anyway. Did you see all those migrants protesting in California?
Yeah. Thanks for self-reporting, guys.
I mean, that's what it is, right? Like you're dancing in the street, obstructing traffic. Josh, can we just talk about, and I'm sorry if I'm so I feel like I'm like toned down today. And I don't mean to be so like meh, but this is just kind of annoying at this point because all it does is show the stupidity of people that are not understanding this. To me, it seems like common sense. Like, why would you come to a country, any country? Why would you go to a country and then be upset at that country for letting you in? People who don't like America, get out. If you don't like America, why are you here? Why do thousands and thousands and thousands and millions of people every year go through some of the most horrendous, life-altering, inhumane conditions that they can to get in here? just to be here physically and then turn around and say that we suck. Why is that okay? Why are we okay with that? Whatever happened to patriotism? I want French people in France to think that France is the best country in the world. I want people in Italy and Germany to think that their countries are the best countries in the world. If they don't, they should leave. But why is it that in America we think that we are the worst country in the world, generally speaking? What is why? Why? Yes, we have the right. It is written in our Constitution, free speech, the right to protest, etc. I get that we have the right. But why? What is with this American self-hating shit? Like, what is it with this? What is it? What's your take on this? I don't understand. I feel like an idiot because I don't understand why people are so self-loathing and so self-hating. I understand being against the government. I'm against big government, right? I'm against the government having too much power and stuff. But America as an idea, as a nation, as a land of people, I am so extremely proud to be American. And again, my family is made up of both immigrants and people that were like I have literal relatives that were on the Mayflower, and I have people that that came here in the 1960s and 1930s and whatever it is. But like, I am so grateful. I mean, you want to talk about fucking privilege, man? How privileged are you to be in a land of the free, home of the brave? There are no other countries where you can openly shit on the government, and I mean like burn the flag and all this other craziness, throw tantrums. They'll just, okay, we'll just lock you up. In some countries, they'll stone you to death. In some countries, they just shoot you because they don't want to deal with the bullshit. In some countries, if you're gay, they'll throw you off of a building. So why is it that in your own home, in America, I understand calling things out that are wrong. I understand like trying to make change for the better, but this self-hating, like what is it, Josh?
I think a part of it has to do with willful ignorance. Um, the narrative, the message, if you will, that the news media has pushed over the past 4 years. Everything has a part to play in it, really. But
I have a thought. I have an idea
what's your
of
idea?
I think it is laziness. I think it is the lazy syndrome of don't look at the man behind the curtain. Don't look at my dirty bedroom. Don't look at the shit everywhere. Let me blame other people while I do whatever the fuck I want. We have over 100,000 homeless people in like Los Angeles alone. We let 2 million people a year, not anymore, thank God, just walk in here and not assimilate and not learn English and not like go to school here. They just come in. When I was growing up, if I ever met I had a friend who actually moved to the United States in like, it was like 4th grade from Holland, from the Netherlands, excuse me. I remember talking to his mom when I was in 4th grade, talking to his mom and asking his mom, why did you come to America? Like, what was your thought process on like, that was the intention of the question was, why America? And in that time, this is only 25-ish years ago, right? 20 or 22 years ago, whatever it was, saying, I remember his mom saying, because in America, the streets are paved with gold. In America, you can do anything or be anything. You're free. That's why we came here. Okay, that makes sense. She also didn't shit on America. What's the intention? The Mayor Eric Adams, who's being indicted in New York for ridiculous charges, okay? Democrat, Did an interview recently with Tucker Carlson, and I have a newfound respect for him, and I don't think that he necessarily did anything wrong. I don't know, but it hasn't been fully played out yet. But even he said, when people are coming into this country, we need to have better vetting, and we need to know not only where they're going, who they are when they come in, but also what's their destiny, what's their intention. So you want to come to America? Okay, fine. How are you, by coming into America, going to make America a better place? That should be the question. Explain, colon, 5 lines underneath it. Do you disagree? On the little questionnaire, the here, welcome to America. How are you going to make America a better place? What is your intention? What's your destination? And what is your destiny? Because America is a place where you can pick your own destiny. And I think we all need to remember that on a regular basis. We need to remember the fact that we are choosing the way that the rest of the world views us. So while we can implement governmental things and all, where's our sense of decorum? Where's our shame? Who are we? Are we anyone? And I don't understand why people don't want to be America. I don't get it. Like, I don't understand it.
I think another huge part of it is that people don't understand, study, or even try to become knowledgeable on countries, different cultures around the world that
Mm,
are completely different from America because, like, Japan.
mm,
Say an actor in America got caught with cocaine, right?
okay.
They would generally might be a scandal. They'd generally keep their job, right?
Okay.
In Japan, and this happened with a couple of video games, I believe, where people in the video games, actors, same general profession, drug charges, stuff that wouldn't be too big of a deal in America, and they get removed from the game. They need to find a new actor. They completely redo it. They pull the game from the market and put it back up like a year later.
This is in America.
No, this is Japan that does this.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is cultures are wildly different all across the world, uh, and America is the only one that you can come here and shit on our culture, essentially.
Right.
Um, there's a lack of, I think, respect nowadays in America that I don't want to say people are being taught to disrespect America, but it's
Well, they
just
are. And at the same time, they're being taught to demand respect back to them. Respect is earned.
I
I
wonder
don't
if
I don't get it, Josh. I don't get it. I
I
don't
w-
understand. You cannot just waltz into a place and say, you have to respect me. Oh, by the way, you suck. Walk into any dive bar in Boston and just start screaming at people about how they suck and how you're so great. Try to walk out of there without a black eye or two. I mean, it'd be insane. It's insane. You're going into somebody else's home, telling them how much they suck, and then saying, also give me free food, free things. I'm a human, so I deserve to live indoors. We don't even take care of our own people. We don't even take care of our own veterans. I have so many friends who are veterans. If they need anything medical or whatever it is, they're like, oh, I gotta go to the fucking VA. Here we go. Why? Why do we allow that to happen in our own country? And what I don't understand is why people can justify the whole free Palestine, forget like Ukraine, all this other crap that's out there. Yeah, crap. It's all crap. It doesn't affect our daily lives at all, except that we're paying for it. And we can't even take care of the homeless people here. The people that are dying from fentanyl and everything else here on this soil, on this land, we don't take care of them. But people are protesting and pissed off about wars and things that are happening in other countries. What are we doing? Like, what are we talking about here? I'm not saying that they're not important, but like our own house is a disgrace. It's not ready for company. If you're having a dinner party, we're not inviting people here right now. We're starting to clean it up, thank God.
Yeah.
But like we're not in a position to have company over for dinner. There's no Sanka. There's no Entenmann's out for company right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're complaining that our neighbors have a dirty house and that we need to go help them clean it up. And if we can't help clean it up, we need to pay for a cleaning company to come in and clean up their house because their house is very important because it's so dirty that people are dying, etc. What the fuck are we talking about?
Yeah. What I'm saying is, and my
Do you
outlook,
get where I'm coming
yeah,
from?
my outlook is that all that stems from a severe cultural problem within the United States.
What is the culture of the United States? We've lost it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, there is none.
You know? I really don't understand. Like, shit happens. There is slavery happening right now in the world, in China. Your phone, my phone, all of our phone, like they're made on the backs of children who make shoes and all this other stuff. Nobody complains about that. Nobody complains about that. All these people on TikTok and X and Twitter and YouTube and all these, they all bitch and complain about Ukraine. Okay, like, yeah, it's unfortunate Russia invaded a land that used to be theirs. Okay. I can get behind the not wanting Putin to take over Ukraine. I get it. It just came out. 58% of the funds that we've sent over there, over $100 billion that we've sent to Ukraine out of the 177 that we've sent since the war started, they don't even know where it is. Why are we still sending them money? Why is there no Google sheet that says we sent this much and then you need to input what you spent it on or we won't send you more money? Like, if you had $100 and I said, hey, I need $20 to go buy lunch. Do you mind if I borrow $20? You go, yeah, sure. Here's a 20, Nick, at 10 a.m. Noontime comes around and I go, hey, listen, sorry, it was awkward. I promise I'll pay you back. But I need 20 more bucks. Wouldn't you say to me, I just gave you 20 this morning. I'll give you 20 more, but why do you need 20 more? And what did you spend the initial 20 bucks on, Nick? Would you not say that to me?
I would.
Now, if I told you that I lost the 20 bucks from the morning, what the fuck would your response be?
You're not getting another 20.
Right, because you lost the first 20. It's mind-boggling to me, man. It really is. It's so frustrating because these people are so passionate. They're so passionate about things that are like
Wildly misconstrued to the American people, for one.
but even when they're not misconstrued, like there is a war going on between Israel and Palestine or Israel and Gaza, or whatever you call it. Like there is a war going on between Russia and Ukraine. People, civilians, children, women, they are dying everywhere. They are. But there are also people dying here, and we don't give a fuck about them. We haven't helped them at all. And the people that go overseas when people attack us, when the people that go overseas to defend us from future attacks and so on and so forth, when they get back here, we're like, oh, go fuck yourself. Why? Why are we okay with that? I'm all for the right to protest the government. I am all for the right to let the authorities know how you feel and to vote them out if they're treating us like shit. But why is your intention behind this is a message to the left, a question for the left. Why are you more concerned with the Russia-Ukraine war and more concerned with the Israel-Hamas war, Israel-Palestine, Israel-Gaza, whatever the fuck you want to call it, war? Why are you more concerned with that than you are about homeless veterans? homeless youth here. Why do you pick the things that matter least to your own life? Why do you do nothing to why would you not want to live in the greatest nation in the world? Wherever that is, whatever that means. But since you live here, why would you not want to implement things and protest bad things and try and create things and services and systems and policies that affirm that this is the greatest country in the world? And by the way, if I was French and living in France, I would be saying the same thing about France. Okay? You live here. Why would anyone not want to live in the greatest country in the world, wherever that country is? But, I'm American, so I'm going to say about it the US. Why would you not want to make it the greatest country in the world? Why, think about this for yourself before you go off and say some crazy comment. I mean, you can say whatever you want, but I'm just saying, why would you not want to see and implement policies that benefit the people that live here and benefit each other here and benefit our small businesses and companies? And like, why would you not want that? Why do you choose to get bent over Israel Palestine? Leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your answer as to why the Israel and Palestine conflict is more important than homeless vets, fentanyl overdoses, and homeless or unhoused people in Los Angeles, the fires, North Carolina that no one's talking about right now. Hundreds of thousands of people out of homes. They have nothing left. No one's talking about it. No one's talking about it.
Two
This,
plane crashes in the past week.
yeah, yeah. But you're upset that Trump thinks it was DEI, which, again, listen, he came out right away and said a whole bunch of stuff that maybe it was DEI, maybe it wasn't. But don't you think we should look into it?
That's another thing. He's not wrong for pointing out that DEI is a problem and could very well cause disasters at that scale.
Right. Why would anyone be upset that the president of the United States wants the best and the brightest in air traffic control? Is it just because he's Trump? Like, I'm starting to think that it's
It
like,
is.
but you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like no matter what he says, if Trump came out and said, I'm giving $1 million to every, if Trump came out and said, I'm giving $1 million cash to every person who's registered as a Democrat in the United States, they would say, I can't believe he's only giving us $1 million. He's not giving us $2 million. That prick. What, like, at some point, you have to just think to yourself, these people don't care. They just want to complain. They need something to complain about. Because if the Democrats of the 60s, 70s, 80s, they got shit done. Kennedys, they got shit done. They stood up for what was right, no matter who was saying it. They stood up, they had principles, and they stood up for what. Now the focus, and they're losing, dude, Josh, they're losing the party. I was like kind of evaluating myself. And I used to say, like, oh, I'm very conservative fiscally and blah, blah, blah. I'm like pretty liberal when it comes to a lot of, like, I don't care. I just want I want to be left alone. I don't want the government in every aspect of my life. I also understand that a single mom with multiple children, she's trying to do stuff on her own, she might need SNAP benefits. But I hate the welfare system because of the way that it's implemented. So if that mom gets a job, she gets no benefits. There's no transitionary period. I've talked about this before.
Yeah.
I'm not big on high taxes, state or federal,
Heck, get rid of the income tax if you can.
which is where I think we're headed. I think we're headed toward a no income tax. But Trump's a Nazi fascist, orange Hitler bad guy because he wants to eliminate income tax. I just
Oh, the fascism thing.
I just don't understand it. And thankfully, he doesn't give a shit. He's like, say whatever you want. I need to keep moving forward, which is the way we should be, Democrat or Republican. After the Republican rhinos, they just want more war. And fucking it, what the hell do the Democrats want these days?
Seeming
more black people, regardless of more gay people, regardless of quality
they
of
want war, they want the blacks, they want the gays,
right.
and a 50% gender split in a
Like
elected by the people
why
office.
is it that like see this is the thing. You know what Democrats should do? They should read The Art of the Deal so that they can learn how to negotiate. Because screaming and stomping and having a big issue with every single thing in the world and everything is racist or misogynistic or homophobic or xenophobic or whatever, like it just starts to fall on deaf ears. Like nobody gives a shit, you know? Nobody cares anymore. And that's unfortunate because those things are real problems. But like it's almost like the boy who cried wolf. Like you have a little problem here, used to be a very big problem. If you learned in school at all, big problems with racism, you know?
Yeah.
But I grew up in a mixed mixed cultured like school. Like I never had any issue with a person of color at all because of their color. I mean, I'm sure I've had, like you get pissed off at people or whatever, and I've screamed and yelled at people, but I've screamed and yelled at white people too. I don't I like that's why. That's why like they didn't win. That's why these people never get anywhere because they scream and yell and hoot and holler, "You're the devil, we're right, you suck." And then you say, "Okay, well shit, jeez, how do we
I
how do we help? How do we change it?" "Well, you got to trans the kids." Whoa.
I knew something was wrong about second grade when we got the Time magazine. Obama was just getting in, so
Mm,
every face in the magazine was a person of color. And that's not the issue here. The issue here was that Time magazine uses a type of ink that you can remove from the page with an eraser, and my entire class figured that out.
mm.
Out of the entire class, I got singled out because I was the artist. I was the one going absolutely nutsy cuckoo with it. And I had a white middle-aged woman out in the hallway with me for 2 hours after that, screaming at me, asking me why I'm racist. Did my family teach me this? And I didn't even know what racist meant. I had classmates of all different colors,
Mhm,
and that never registered to me. We were all just kids going to school.
mm.
But the adults and the people in power, as we've seen from the left, have forced it into us to really see nothing but color. And if you look at the DNC convention, whatever it was from a couple days ago,
Ugh.
that's all they talked about.
Yeah, that lady that got up there, "I'm speaking, I'm a black woman, and I deserve to be heard."
I'd kill to know if that happened before or after the crowd just started shouting at everybody.
I really, I wanted to get into a whole big thing. I think my explanation on tariffs makes sense. Correct me in the comments if it doesn't. And I would really like to be able to get back to talking about film. Like I feel like we're talking so much about politics, and a little bit, I'm thankful for it because I believe in the American system of governance, and like we should be talking about politics. It should be a portion of our lives in the forefront of every adult American's life should be politics, and we should be teaching kids in school about our political system, how it works, why things are important. You should be actively running for town assessor and town treasurer, city treasurer, or mayor. You should be like figuring out why they don't take all the trash, implementing policies to make sure they take the trash. This is on a local level. Like there are absolutely things that can be done instead of protesting or in addition to protesting. Nobody does. I don't get it. And so you end up having the only people that care about it, like that care about the government, they don't care about the government, they care about themselves. So they run and they become senators when they're 35 and they just stay in the Senate because nobody else cares. Nobody else fights for anything that's right. They just bitch and bitch and bitch and complain and bitch some more about other countries. Any American who's upset about tariffs on Canada and Mexico has never had a friend or person die of fentanyl overdose in their life. I've had 11. 11. They don't know anybody in California who lost their home. I can name 3. I won't because I don't want to say names, but I can name 3 families right now who lost everything. They've never visited or helped out or volunteered to help in North Carolina. They don't care. And at the same time, they turn around and point fingers and say that we, the people that disagree with them, are the privileged assholes of the world. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. They want to take your guns. They want to take your freedoms. They want to implement DEI. They want to do all these different things, and none of it matters. Everything they're talking about, the social issues, don't change the world, the economy, the whatever. They don't. Merit-based governance does. You're good at what you do. That's why you work here. That's it. If you weren't good, I'd fire you. Please make no mistake. That's not a threat. Do your job the way you've been doing. Always be looking to improve and do better. Not only will you stay, I'll give you more money. Show up on time. Why is that difficult to understand?
I told you this story, I think, last week with there's a younger person who's working with my grandmother who is the only retired person I know with a job. Um, and for like 2 weeks in a row, both days that this person works, my grandmother got a text at like 6 in the morning. Hey,
Mhm.
can you work for me? There,
How old is your grandmother?
uh, I want to say in her 70s.
And did your grandmother go to work?
Yep, she went to work for her every single time she asked.
How old is the person who was asking? Do you know offhand?
Like 20, 19.
Right. Why do people not I don't where what the fuck?
The people that were raised will see the problem in the story I just told. Um, but yeah, there's a
Why
real.
is there no work ethic?
It could be the negativity again forced into people. The
I just don't get it. I don't get it. I understand. So like when I was growing up, I never got an allowance. I was told to mow the lawn or I was in trouble.
Yep.
Like you mow the lawn or you're in trouble. You shovel the snow or you're in trouble. That's how I was like that's it. You're grounded if you don't help. It's not you work, you know what I mean? Like your parents asked you to do something. Just do it. Just do it. Without them you wouldn't be here. Just do it. That's it. You're doing it to help where you live. You're mowing the lawn so that your house doesn't look like shit. Just do it. Like I don't get it. When you hire people in and you are paying them, when you go to apply for a job, there's this culture currently of what can the company do for the employee? They pay them weekly. That's what the company does for the employee or biweekly or whatever it is. You get paid to be there. That's the thank you for a job, by the way, well done. Thank you for a job well done. Not thank you for a job that's mediocre. Not thank you for a job that's the base minimum. If you work a 9 to 5 job where you punch a clock, you punch the clock and are ready to work at 9 o'clock. That means you might, crazy idea, you might have to be in the office by 8:45 to open up your computer, to get things ready, to take a shit, to eat your breakfast, drink your coffee, plan accordingly. It's not difficult. The world's been doing this forever. If you don't like that, or if you want to work on your own terms or whatever, start a business. Do it yourself. Take all the risk. But the day that you go to hire somebody else, You'll learn immediately what you need and what you're willing to pay for. Everybody wants the best. And if you're not the best, strive to be the best. Learn as much as you can. Work hard and realize that your work will reward you. Other people don't reward you for showing up and just existing. What are you doing? What is your job? What are the parameters of your job? People don't know how to interview anymore either. When you go to apply for a job, listen, I know today was supposed to be about tariffs and I was going to play a bunch of clips and everything else, but it's like it's all bullshit. Like I just don't I'm like so disheartened by the culture of America is always like, "Wait, look over there. That's something we should talk about." While you're overweight, stupid, homeless, fentanyl addict, veteran that's not being taken care of. Look over at China, look over at Ukraine, look over there because that's worth talking about. What the fuck? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And I have friends who are like that. Like I don't mean this in a dick way. I'm just saying like it doesn't it doesn't make sense. It doesn't help anybody or anything. You're
I
just complaining for the sake of complaining. Go
I've
ahead, sorry.
encountered even worse than that. When, like a step further, if you try to talk to these people about issues that to us would be important, the economy, immigration, anything, they won't talk. They'll yell, they'll scream, they'll villainize, antagonize,
It's
and
because they don't have an answer for you because you're right. And so they
and
don't know what to do. They don't know how to deal with it. I I'm not saying that Trump's the nicest guy in the world and I'm not trying to be the guy's best friend, but like
you really gotta hate them that much that you can't have a conversation with anybody?
yeah, and like why can't you be cautiously optimistic? Why can't you tread lightly and say, "Let's see how things go." If he steps out of line, you call it out. Protest, no problem. But if he's trying to actively help the American people, you got to think to yourself. The guy keeps saying that he wants to help America and make America great. That's his slogan. That's the MAGA like movement. If you're against that, don't you think that being against your own country's improvement might be like a negative? Don't you think that maybe like if the message is make America great and your response to that or make America great again and your response to that is to come up with some story as to why America was never great. This is your home. This is your country. Like where are your priorities? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? If Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or one of these other morons that I'm so happy I didn't vote for said something like, I want to help the American people. Okay, great. No Republican is going to say that that's bad, even if Biden or Harris said it, or Obama or anybody else. But then you go and look at the policies, and they're directly in conflict with America. I want to make America great. How are you going to do that? Well, we're going to give $70 billion to Ukraine. The fuck? What are you talking about? And like I've seen a lot of these like videos on YouTube, like they're these like 20-1. So you have like a Democrat in the middle, and then there's 20 Republicans around. And they're like some smart, fast talking Democrats or whatever, and they think they just like what are you talking about? Like they're all advocating for the destruction of the country. Why are you here? Well, if you look at the tax system of Sweden and go move to Sweden. Go move.
They've
Go
really
move to Sweden. If you like Canada more than America and you're pissed off at Trump for implementing tariffs that will, in the long run, benefit America and you're upset because it's hurting Canada, go live in Canada. It's going to end up being a state anyway, probably. Go live in Mexico. Go live in Tijuana and see how long you last. Go ahead. Go. I don't, like, why would you stay? Isn't the definition of insanity doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result?
yeah.
So why would you stay in a place and advocate for open borders and people pouring into a place that you keep saying at the same time sucks horribly? why would someone who's your age, who who says things like, "I'll never own a home, and the country is going to shit, and nobody cares, and the government, and all this other stuff," why would you be against someone who's trying to make it so that you can own a home? Now, the racial and social policies of the 1950s, horrible, horrible, horrible. But, and just because I'll just say, obviously, we just said the social policies in the 1950s were bad, but the economic policies of the 1950s allowed for, and I'm gonna use a straight family as the example, a father of 2 kids living with his wife to go to work and allowed for his wife to stay home. She could get a job if she wanted, but she didn't have to, and she was raising 2 kids. That's the agreement the 2 people made when they got married, was you're gonna stay home and take care of the kids and feed them and bathe them and, prepare them for real life. I'm gonna go out and work as the dad. Tell me, cut me off if I'm wrong.
I just wanna add to it, you know what, after roughly a decade before the '50s
Let me
of
finish this really quick.
yeah.
So the dad goes out to work, any job, any job, and pays for and owns the property that they live on, the house they live in, the car in their driveway. Yes, one car, a family car. That's the car. Everybody wants to go to the mall, everybody wants to go to the movie. You all get in one car, not 7 cars, not in a rented home, not in a McMansion. You have a room, you have your brother and sister have a room. I remember, like, when I was very, very, very young, sharing a room with my brother. We got older, we had my sister, we expanded the house, and then eventually we all had our own bedroom and so on, and like things like that happened. But I know plenty of people who grew up sharing a room with their brother or their sister or their whatever. In the 50s, you had a single income household and you could buy a house. And go ahead, a decade before the 50s. What were you trying to say before? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, for a large decade before the '50s, or the larger part of a decade, women were basically the backbone of our economy because all our men were overseas fighting. So, in a way, to me, they deserved the time at home.
Yeah, I don't understand where all this like talk of misogyny and everything comes from. I was raised, and listen, I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I'm just saying like not everything's misogynistic. Okay, not everything is racist. I was raised that like Mary Todd Lincoln was more than influential in Lincoln's presidency. I was raised that behind every strong man is a well-educated, thoughtful woman who is like almost in a meme like sense pulls the strings of her husband. Well, okay. So then if that's how I was raised and then now you're telling me that everything's misogynistic, everything's a patriarchy, the man controls everything. Well, what the fuck are you saying about all those historical women, all those figures that helped? I don't like, you take things away from them. Like, I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't understand, how does it benefit anyone? I learned about slavery. It was horrible. I learned about civil rights in the 60s. It was horrible times. We fixed it. We looked at that and said, "Fuck, that's really bad. Those are human beings. This is really bad."
And now imagine someone today saying that, say, someone who had lived through the Holocaust, the Civil Rights era, imagine someone today saying to them, "Oh, well, you don't agree with me? You're a Nazi. You're a racist." I could think of no greater insult to a person who'd been through that.
Yeah, I it's so disheartening to see the response to the tariffs be so negative, you know?
He even said it's gonna be a rough couple of months while we fix it.
Yeah, we're going back to the gym for the first time in 50 years. We're fucked. We've done it to ourselves. We sat around eating pancakes and cheeseburgers and with that extra craft single on there. We've been doing this to ourselves. We know actively, openly. Think about this for a minute as an American. We know that Twinkies are bad. We know that McDonald's is not healthy. And we justify it by saying it's quick and cheap. And now it's not even cheap. That's disgusting. That's America? Land of the free, home of the brave? The story behind the Star-Spangled Banner, the national anthem, was that we were being barraged or like shot at by the British, and we all because we refused to take our flag down. We had that much pride in what we believed in, and now we're defending McDonald's? What are we doing? Where are our heads at? Why are the things that are important to us important to us? I was raised that the gay population wants to be left alone. They want to be treated like everyone else. The second they got the right to marry, the transes, the non-binaries, everybody else who is now oppressed. I don't know if you've ever noticed. Everybody's queer. Everybody's gay. Now it's a thing. It's not fun to be gay. That's not a life that anybody would choose. It's not fun to be the fat kid. That's not a life anybody would choose to grow up and be called or you know, a fatty boom batty or any of that stuff. Nobody wants to get made fun of. They just want to be left alone. They just want to be treated like everybody else. Now, the policies are not only do you not treat them like everybody else, you put them on a pedestal and treat them better than everybody else. Why is that? How is that equal? What are we saying when we say you have to give black people a job for diversity, equity, and inclusion? All I hear when that happens is black people aren't good enough to get the job on their own, so we're going to force you to hire them because they're so dumb or they're so not educated or they're so not good enough to do it on their own that we have to force you to do it for them. How is that not racist?
Me and my buddy actually,
Seriously, how is that not fucking racist?
we experienced that firsthand. It was back when I was applying for jobs, and we wanted to run an experiment at a local place. I won't say which one. Um, and I walked in there. My interview went first, and
Mm.
my friend was sitting in the table behind me, just waiting. And the guy had this sheet, went on a 20-minute spiel about how he's, oh yeah, I'm a really good hiring manager. And I was like, okay, yeah, buddy, okay. Um, and he asked me a million questions. What's something you're proud of? Um, to everything he could think of. And he's like, all right, well, I got 15 more candidates to go through. I'll let you know. We'll be in touch. And I said, yeah, okay, buddy. Because I already saw the look in his eye. I knew it was about to happen. My suspicions were confirmed when he sat down, and as I was walking out the door, he sat in front of my friend, and my friend confirmed this once he got back in the car with me. He said he only asked me one question, and it wasn't even a question. He told me to sell myself to him.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to.
And here's the kicker. When I looked at the staff that was in this place, they were all of Hispanic descent.
Okay.
Um, my friend is not, and my friend was asked, "Do you speak Spanish?"
Is it a requirement for the job?
Apparently, n-
Okay, well,
not on the sheets, but because he's only hiring people of Spanish descent, he gave my friend the job on the spot, and my friend is Cambodian
because he's not white.
because he's not white,
And he doesn't speak Spanish, I'm assuming. Right.
like high school,
Yeah, yeah.
took a couple
Hola,
classes.
¿cómo estás? That
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Right, right, right.
And this is the whitest man ever who is doing this
Right,
interview.
right. Yeah, I don't blame the companies though. I don't. Companies need to make money. Companies need to they are fighting for themselves to stay afloat. And if they see that the majority of the populace or if they see that a large portion of the populace is gearing toward this DEI stuff, They don't wanna get called out or canceled or whatever. I'm not justifying it, I'm saying I understand why people would go that direction. I want the best. Like, I don't even consider whether you're gay, straight, male, female. If a chick walked in here and was kicking ass, doing some my main client, Alexa, she's a girl. I think. I haven't asked, but I'm assuming. I like and the reason it's funny is because it's so ridiculous. It's so absurd. What are we talking about here? Like what has our nation become? It's a world of shit. And finally, you have somebody who's saying, Hold on a minute. Let's try and make it better." And people are fighting with him. People are against him because we wanna be the best? Why is it bad to want to be the best? Why is it bad to strive and believe in something and be the best?
To me,
I
people
don't
that
get it. I don't fucking get it.
people that are in support of things like DEI,
Yeah.
they don't want to be better.
No, I know. Because if they're better, they'll have nothing to complain about. Then they might actually have to look at their own lives and say, "Shit, I got a messy room here. I gotta pick this up now." Let me tell you something. If I'm not saying this about anybody in particular, I'm saying if the hypothetical if you smell bad, nobody's gonna want to sit next to you. That means that you should fucking shower. It doesn't mean that you implement policies where people are forced to sit next to your stinky ass and say, "Gee, you smell great." Not cool. Shower. Clean yourself. Smell better. Live better. Fight harder for a better life for yourself. And then fight after you've cleaned up your own life. Recognize that you have a good life and show other people. Don't do it for them. Show other people, teach and help other people make their lives better. That's what the world should be. I feel like that's kind of a 1980s liberal take. Because the Republicans of the 1980s would be like, "Go fuck yourself. We're not helping anybody." That's not
Yeah.
advantageous to society. If we want to live as a society, we need to have borders. We need to have we need to take care of our own products and services. We need to take care of each other, and we need to focus on taking care of each other. If there's a person with a mental health issue, yes, we should be taking care of them. Here, I'm not taking care of mental health issues in Afghanistan. I'm sorry. I'm not doing that in China. The Chinese need to deal with that in China. But this shouldn't even have to be a conversation. We're a little bit over time here, so I'm gonna end it. But these are things. Leave a comment down below on your thoughts. Tell me I'm an idiot. Explain to me why America's the worst and why we should have that mentality, please. But can we just all kind of get back in the swing of trying to make the best for ourselves and live better so that we can do things like make movies and have a good time?
Can't live with
Please,
blinders.
can we do that, please? Or leave. Get the fuck out. Go live in Canada, okay? Go live in Canada, the 51st state. We'll see you next Monday. Thanks.